All right, let's get right into it. Picture this. The year is 624. We're in a desert valley called Badr, and on this one single day, in this one spot, the entire course of history is about to pivot. Two armies are about to meet, and what happens next will shape a world religion forever.
And this is no even match. I mean, look at these numbers. On one side, you have the army from Mecca. We're talking nearly 1,000 men, decked out with all the gear, 100 horsemen, and on the other side, a small band of Muslims, just 313 of them, with hardly any weapons and, get this, only 2 horses for their entire force. It's the definition of a David versus Goliath showdown.
So you gotta ask, right? How in the world did this happen? How did this small, outmatched group pull off a victory against an enemy 3 times their size? A victory that would literally change the world. Well, that's what we're gonna break down.
So, it all kicks off not with a plan for a big battle, but with something much more mundane, a trade caravan. But this wasn't just any caravan. It was the spark that lit the whole fire.
Now, to really get this, you have to understand the backstory. The Muslims had been run out of their homes in Mecca. They were forced to leave everything behind. The powerful Quraysh tribe just took it all, their houses, their goods, everything. And the real kicker? All that stolen property was loaded onto this exact caravan, and the profits were going to be used to finance a war against the very people they stole it from. I mean, think about that. Your own wealth being used to buy the swords that will be pointed at you.
And we're not talking about small change here. This caravan was worth an estimated 50,000 dinars, a staggering amount of money at the time. This was a huge deal for the Meccans. So the Prophet Muhammad and his followers decided to act. The plan was to intercept that caravan and take back what was rightfully theirs.
But you know how it goes. Plans change. What started out as a mission to seize a caravan was about to snowball into a full-blown military confrontation. Both sides were now on the march to Badr, and a battle was looking unavoidable.
The caravan leader was a sharp guy named Abu Sufyan. He gets wind of the Muslim plan, and he moves fast. He sends a rider galloping back to Mecca, screaming for an army to come protect the caravan. But at the same time, he's not just waiting around. He brilliantly reroutes the caravan, taking it on a different path along the coast, completely out of harm's way.
So, the caravan is safe. The Meccan army could have just turned around and gone home, right? Mission accomplished. But no. Their leader, a man named Abu Jahl, had other ideas. This quote from him says it all. For him, it wasn't about the money anymore. It was about pride, about power. He wanted to march to Badr, throw a big party, and show all the other tribes just how powerful the Quraysh were. He wanted to make an example of the Muslims.
So now the Muslims are faced with a whole new situation. It's not a caravan anymore. It's a massive, angry army marching right for them. And this is where the Prophet Muhammad doesn't just make a command. He practices something called Shura, which is this principle of consultation. He actually gathers his followers and asks them, what should we do? Do we fight this army or do we turn back? And together, they made the decision to face them.
And as this tiny army marched toward their destiny, you get a real sense of their spirit. They had so few camels that they had to take turns, 3 men to 1 animal. And when his 2 companions tried to give him their turns to ride, the Prophet said this, it's a powerful moment. It shows this deep humility and unity. The leader was right there in the trenches, or in this case in the sand, walking just like everyone else.
And that brings us right to the edge of the battle. This is the moment it all comes down to. Strategy, belief, and sheer will, all colliding in the Valley of Badr.
Before a single sword is even lifted, the Muslims make a game-changing move. One of the companions, a man named Habab bin Mundir, who knew the land, suggests a change in strategy. And it was brilliant. He says, let's move our camp and take control of the main water well. So they did. They built a reservoir for their own men to drink from, and then they filled in all the other wells. In the middle of a scorching desert, they had all the water and their enemy would have none. An incredible tactical advantage.
As was tradition, the battle kicks off with a series of one-on-one duels, the Mubaraza. The Meccans send out 3 of their most fearsome fighters, and the Muslims send out 3 of their own to meet them. The result? A clean sweep. All 3 Muslim champions win their duels. You can just imagine the effect of that. It was a massive psychological blow to the Meccan army before the real fight even started.
So, this is it. The 2 armies are facing each other. The battle is about to begin. And in that moment, the Prophet raises his hands in prayer, and his words just capture everything that was on the line. This wasn't just about winning a fight. For him, it was about the survival of his entire faith.
The battle erupts. And then, the moment that changes everything.
The accounts say the Prophet took a handful of dust and threw it at the enemy line. At that very instant, a freak sandstorm whips up out of nowhere, blowing right into the faces of the Meccan soldiers. They're blinded, confused, their lines completely break apart in chaos, and the Muslims, seeing their chance and feeling divinely inspired, charge forward with everything they have.
The fight itself was surprisingly fast and incredibly decisive. And in its aftermath, the entire map, politically and spiritually, of Arabia had been completely redrawn. This was a brand new world.
And if you want to see just how lopsided this victory was, you just have to look at the casualty report. The mighty Quraysh army lost 70 men, many of them their key leaders, and had another 70 taken captive. The Muslim losses? Just 14 men. The outcome was as stunning as it was improbable.
But what happened to the prisoners is maybe one of the most remarkable parts of this story. They weren't just executed, they were given a choice. If you were wealthy, you could pay a ransom. But if you couldn't afford that, there was another way to earn your freedom. Teach 10 children in the city of Medina how to read and write. Just think about that. In the wake of this brutal fight, one of the highest priorities was education.
So when you boil it all down, the takeaway is crystal clear. Badr was so much more than a battle. It was the moment that a small, hunted, and persecuted community of refugees stood up to their powerful oppressors and, against all odds, they won. They transformed overnight from a fringe group into a real power in the region, a force to be reckoned with.
And it just leaves you with this one kinda staggering thought, doesn't it? Badr is one of those incredibly rare pivot points in history. It really makes you wonder, how often does the future of a people, and maybe even the world, truly come down to what happens on a single afternoon?